This episode of Super Pulp Science has been brought to you by Prairie Comics Festival, Winnipeg's premier indie comics event, taking place October 5th and 6th at the Millennium Library, 251 Donald Street, 3rd floor, featuring 87 exhibitors, headliner guests Emily Carroll and Faith Aaron Hicks, and is your gateway into indie comics.
Attention, citizens! It's time for Super Pulp Science!
This is Super Pulp Science, where we talk about how genre gets made. If you are a long-time listener to this podcast, then a voice from the past is about to return to your ears, dear listener. Perhaps our most celebrated and certainly our most frequent guest of the podcast, S.M. Beiko, is here with us today.
Ooh, that was just me manifesting into the studio.
What are you doing here today, Sam?
Just hanging out, renting a studio on the 6th floor. No big.
Dun, dun.
Sam's joining the building.
Some good key Foley.
Woo.
Enjoy, yes.
Do we get like a cut of that from the landlord?
We should definitely
Right? We should get something.
ask for
out of that.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty much our fault, right?
Because
It is.
It can't be her diligent hard work that is paying off. It has to somehow
bring
be
in
us that
tenants,
we
to-
can take.
yeah.
How
credit
can we
for.
make this about
Yeah.
us?
Because it's not as though the building is managed well enough to entice me out of the suburbs
Right.
to come all the way here. It is also just that I've had many conversations with the fabulous Taylor in the office about how I've been in this building for 6 years, but not really. But I'm very familiar, and I had to keep stopping myself from saying, I've had keys to this building for years. I know all the codes to everything.
I guess we can't send this episode to her, 'cause that'll out us.
No.
No.
She's cool with it.
You've been a studio member for all this time.
Yeah, and every time I floated like some weird questions that are about ideas I have for the space, she's like, yeah, that sounds great. Whatever. Do whatever you want. Yeah.
So if you're wondering who this person is because you aren't a longtime listener, Samantha Beiko, S.M. Beiko, in the interest of full disclosure, you and I go all the way back to the cheesing days.
Yes.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun. Except I did meet you completely independent of that.
Correct.
This is
in
like 2013?
2012.
2012, wow.
Gregory put on this event called Masquerade,
That's right.
which blew my brain right out of the back of my head because was just this little 22-year-old fresh back from Toronto and being ingratiated in the publishing community there when my post-grad. Coming back to Winnipeg, everyone has this broad misconception that we don't have an arts community here, and it's so difficult to find or even penetrate or even imagine it. And by happenstance, I came to this event that you did at the Artlington. It was a beautiful building where a lot of art spaces are, but Gregory and a coterie of others had transformed it into something out of Neil Gaiman's Mirror Mask. There were acrobats. There were live owls. There was a guy there. He was wearing a wire orb around his head,
Oh, that's
and
right.
he's just standing there drinking a cocktail.
How was he drinking a
Was he doing
cocktail?
close-up magic at that point? I think he might have been.
Maybe. And then, in addition to that, your wife Tara was there, and she was doing dancing. And then you did a live art event with Cal.
Yeah, Cal
Barteski.
Barteski and I, we did that project
And
together.
yeah, it was just incredible, and I was just completely just like, oh, I can't believe that this happens here. And it was just the tip of the iceberg for my what are like anti-rose-colored glasses for like looking at a space and being like, this place sucks.
Right.
Brown?
Yeah,
Your
it was
brown-
brown. My brown glasses.
Soot
The lens
colored
on Winnipeg.
glasses. Yeah. No. Well, one of the things that I have found is true about the Winnipeg arts community is that people really want to do stuff.
Mm-hmm. And they'll do it out of spite mostly.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
And there is a drive to achieve, and I think we've talked about before the force that winter
Oh, yes.
provides, or the insulation, I guess, that winter provides to the arts community in Winnipeg is that you work in isolation, you get separated from people, it's cold, it's miserable, and you work on your art. And then when it's time to share it. There's a lot of people breaking out and wanting to get out and see what people are doing, and so it's supportive. And Winnipeg is a big enough city that it has some of every kind of scene, but a small enough city that there's overlap in each of those scenes. They're not quite as insular, so you can bring in people from
And
a lot of
even
different...
experiencing that overlap, you don't experience market saturation because you're still being exposed constantly to people who you weren't being exposed maybe in the first realm. In the second one you are, and you are seeing the same artists, but everyone's always coming out with something new, so it is always new and it is always vibrant and flourishing. And now when people come up to me and say, oh, you're in the arts community here, how's that going? Do we really have an arts community? I just stopped talking to them because it's like, sure, I mean, now 12 years later, we have an extremely, I would say that things have been cut even deeper. I won't get too deep into this soapbox, but for the Winnipeg arts specifically and Manitoba, funding has been cut drastically across the board from the same people who believe that cutting the arts is just an easy way to get money off the ledger. And then Winnipeggers, we will still keep going. And it will be that spite piece, like, oh, you're going to cut my funding? Well, I'm going to art so much harder that I'm going to just steamroll you into realizing that it's worth investing in.
I've been thinking a lot and talking a lot to other people lately about the notion of the commodification of art, which is really fueled, I think, by social media and media in general and IP development and streaming and AI and all this kind of stuff. This conversation is there. And so little is talked about around the notion that to draw and write and make up stories and express yourself is part of being a human being.
Yeah.
It's not a specialized task or service provided at a cost.
Yeah.
Everyone can express themselves. Whether or not you package it and sell it at Walmart, that's a whole other fucking thing, right?
Part of the culture right now is if you're talented in any way, shape, or form, you got to turn that into a business.
Yeah, better turn it into money. I reject that outright, and so much of the Winnipeg arts community rejects that outright. Okay, there's no funding? Fine. Then we'll do it in an abandoned building, and when the police come to shut it down, we're already gone.
100%.
Right?
100%. And we are just going to keep going because otherwise, there is no other choice. But because then it's just nothing. And it's also, there is this notion that being an artist is such a gate-kept, pristine, prestigious, and only a select few can be artists, and that is what's driving this AI thing we're currently experiencing. And like you said, it's not it's absolutely part of every single person's DNA, and every person can be an artist in such a multiplicity of ways, and it's just a matter of saying that it is important to you and doing it no matter the cost.
We did a workshop recently. Chadwick Ginter, Jonathan Ball, and I did a workshop
at Raven's End.
Yeah, at Raven's End Books, horror bookshop here in Winnipeg, and we did a horror fantasy world building workshop. So people came who wanted to talk about. There was writers there were people interested in designing role-playing games, people who were dungeon masters, and people who were writing short stories, all kinds of different folks that came in. And the number of people who use the term that I often what's the word? Get aggressive. Yeah, eschew. They would say, it's so good to have a powerful editor back on the podcast.
Green sky at morning. Neighbor take warning. Green sky at night. Neighbor take flight.
They would say, oh, I'm an aspiring writer. They'd introduce themselves, I'm an aspiring writer. And I just cut them off. I'm ruthless now.
You're a writer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you write something? That's a verb. Yes. Then you're a writer.
Yeah.
What you're aspiring to maybe is publication. What you're aspiring to is broader recognition. What you're aspiring to is maybe a big audience. But you're a writer.
You've already started.
Yeah, you're a painter, you draw, you're a poet, you're, a gardener, you're a potter, you're whatever it is, however you're expressing yourself into the world. You can just be that, and no one has to say, well, what's that for? Right? It's for me feeling good about being alive and then expressing that life into something.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all you got to do. One of the things that gets caught up in the show here, I think, is because we talk about how genre gets made. We talk about how we do it as a business. There can be a mistaken patina over what we're doing that first and foremost, it's business. And I think we are very lucky here at the studio that first and foremost, it's creative expression. And then we are also finishers. So we finished the project and then we all put on different hats and say, okay, well, now that it exists, who might want it? Where could it go? What format should it go?
I feel
What
like
medium?
we were just lucky enough that those things lined up. The things that we liked making and creating, turns out there's an audience for them that are wanting them as well. And I think that's just a really, fortunate place that we moved ourselves into that realm.
Yeah, but you didn't sit there going, oh, I need an idea.
No,
so that I can, that's trendy and that
That's
I'm
right.
going to now put it into my formula machine and it's going to spit out the next thing that's going to make me my millions. And
Yeah,
That's
I've
not
heard
artistic
talks
way.
like that, those entrepreneurial talks where it's like, here's what you guys should be doing is developing a business, getting it up and running, and then sell that and like go do something else. And that just...
yeah, it's just like selling
that.
off your joy for parts, venture capitalist of passion. I don't think any of us want to be that.
No.
There are certainly people out there who do try to package up the artistic experience and sell it. And in some ways, sure, you obviously need money in order to do things, but there is a limit, that you're willing to go to.
The high-minded ideal that I throw around and put on my Minus Institute posters is existence precedes essence. We create ourselves through what we do, right? And so what that really means in a less lofty expression is if you're going to do it, then start. And then when you're done with it, look at it, what it is, and decide what it meant. You don't have to have that all figured out first.
Yeah.
And sometimes the action of creation is also the action of understanding where the impetus came from in the first place. Our brain is a very complicated, very layered and subtle tool of understanding the world. And we're not always consciously aware of why we've begun a thing until it already exists and then you see the pattern. So I think if you're someone listening to us right now, and you're thinking about writing or illustrating and doing something like that, and you're saying, oh, but I just don't know what I would do with it. Put that thought aside. Will you enjoy it? Do you enjoy the labor of it? Will you suffer in its creation? Absolutely.
Yeah.
But will it be worth it? Undeniably.
Yeah.
And even if you make $0, you'll be able to know that you did that thing, and there's no time wasted in that.
Definitely.
Now, you burst onto our podcast here with your jingle of keys.
I manifested very lyrically. Let's just rephrase.
We very rarely wish we had video evidence of our podcast recordings, but today, when you came sashaying through the door...
Yeah, that was some good energy.
So I'm going to talk about a couple of things that we're all got going on in our lives that is part of that level up. And one of those things is why you have a space downstairs now and what it's for and how it supports the community. And you have created it through what you've done. I would love to talk about Prairie Comics Festival.
Sure.
And then we'll pick on your novels after that.
Amazing. So yeah, I have been on this podcast a lot and I've talked about a lot of things, and that pattern continues in that I am constantly doing a lot of things in order to fulfill a lot of fill a lot of different cups. So I write books. I also draw a graphic novel that I had to put to the side for a little bit. I'm
going to interrupt you. It's available, though.
It is available.
Everywhere?
Yeah.
Where
The
can I find it?
the first 3 issues are available in the single volume called Krampus is My Boyfriend, Volume 1 on Amazon, or you can grab it from me at shows.
Still available on Webtoons?
It's still available on Webtoon if you want to read it for free. It's just in the volume. It's nice put together. It's edited. There's extra pages that didn't appear. And the Webtoon is actually in the middle of issue 4, but I've not yet completed it. In any case, I also do seminars, workshops, talking about not only writing and how to do it, but also publishing traditionally versus self-publishing and my experiences in all these different realms. And I'm also the artistic director for Prairie Comics Festival, which has existed since 2016. We're an indie comics celebrating event that happens over a weekend somewhere downtown. Our venue is constantly in flux, but I won't get into that today.
It happens somewhere downtown.
Yeah.
We should put that on the poster.
Well, this year it takes place October 5th and 6th at the Millennium Library. We're very lucky that it's taking place on Saturday and Sundays because the city has now decided to shut down that library, our 189,000 square foot behemoth library, on Sundays indefinitely. Again,
What does culture need a third space for anyway?
exactly. Who needs access in the inner city to, millions and millions of dollars of investment that's already been put in over 22 years? But anyway, so Prairie Comics Festival celebrates indie comics and art and zines and everything created by the people standing behind the table. There's no Viz Media, there's no Dark Horse, there's no Marvel, there's no DC. Some of the folks there maybe will have worked for them, but they're there to, talk about their work that they have maybe put their heart and soul into. This year we have 87 exhibitors, which is insane. Considering
Compared to last year.
last year we had 39.
Yeah. More than
And
double.
because we just burst out of that space. We were at the West End Cultural Center last year, and the libraries just always seemed like a great fit because we also put on monthly events through them that are all free to attend across the city, that are, on granular subjects like comics layout and pacing, or graphic novel publishing 101, or educational comics, or we did a zine club recently at the New Idea Mill at Millennium. So we're constantly
We have
trying
some
to.
coming up with yours truly.
That's right. Gregory has to answer an email about that, but I am going to put him on business blast.
Put me on blast
the
right here on the
podcast.
podcast.
But he is doing, and he's done these fabulous kids comic workshops. I did 2 sets of them last year, and they're free to attend, and they're for ages 9 to 12 or for teen, and they usually happen in the summer or the fall, and they're just a great entry point for that kiddo in your life who really needs a creative outlet, and they're really accessible. Like, you don't have to be an artist, you don't have to be a writer, you can just be someone who enjoys making stuff.
Yeah,
And
you can just be creative curious. That's it.
yeah, and Prairie Comics Festival pays all of our facilitators so that we create income opportunities for artists living in the city, and we connect folks with communities that otherwise maybe wouldn't really be aware of them outside of conventions. So we're constantly doing stuff, Prairie Comics Festival, and I've been working out of my house doing my own client work as well as managing Prairie Comics Festival for so many years and I live in the suburbs on the southwest edge of the city, in the forest.
I was going to say,
Literally
urban
in the
forest.
woods. I will look out my window and there are coyotes walking by. So I have worked with Gregory and Justin. I've been very fortunate to kind of come down to their studio and be with them and kind of be in the nexus of their ideas and in this space. And it's just such a great neighborhood in the Exchange District. And there's so many creative people as well in this building. And we've done events down here, like with First Fridays in the Exchange.
I will
and
say, dear listener, that when the days that we know Sam is coming, it's like, up your game. Polish your idea. Sam's coming.
Yeah. One time Justin was like, "Oh, come down so you can see the new Spark Chasers." But it was a full meeting, and there was an easel out, and there was a presentation happening. It was on the TV.
Surprise.
I was just like, oh, I should have worn a blazer.
He wore a blazer
I
for
will.
Yeah,
all
he
of us.
did. He did. It was really magnificent. And because of that, I really believe, and Prairie Comics needs its own space. We are, as Gregory kind of alluded to, we are kind of in danger of losing a lot of third spaces that the city provided or historically has invested in, and they've just decided they don't want to anymore. So more spaces to have more things and bring people together is my aim. So now I have a suite in this building, right? Just one flight of stairs down from Comics Boys up here.
Ooh,
On
I like
6.
Comics
Do I?
Boys.
And do I
Do I
though?
like it?
And it's going to just be so great. I also just need to be out of my house. For anyone here listening who is an entrepreneur or an artist and you have small children in your house and you're running your business as well as being distracted by family needs and chores, sometimes separation is good. And so this will be my first time venturing out to be in an office in 9 years.
Wow.
So I'm pretty happy. Pretty excited.
We'll have to get a water cooler to put in between the studios.
Yeah,
In the
that's just so we
stairs.
can
In the stairs.
yeah, stand in the stairs at the water cooler and chat. What I oh, my phone is ringing. My phone is ringing. 1 second. Pause the show.
This interlude is brought to you by Gregory's generic ringtone.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Yeah, I'll go in with you. Sure, right. Okay, no problem. Let's go.
Anyway, I've got a studio space.
Right.
It's going to be rad. It is scary. And I thought about it for many months, just laying awake, being like, is this the best thing for me? Because I just quit a job that was kind of my main bread and butter for the last 6.5 years. I worked for the Hallmark Channel, everyone's favorite romance factory machine.
You were creative with a steady income.
I was, yeah. So I bankrolled them hard and used that for other stuff.
I like to think of it as taking the king's shilling to hire vagabonds.
It 100%, absolutely. And this shilling is covered in happily ever afters that no one asked for. But I will say that Hallmark is a big money injection to the local economy in Winnipeg. So hats off to them. And it was, it was great. I learned a lot actually about, I was the social media content lead and writer for strategy on Facebook for them. At the time I came on, they had 10 Facebook pages and a very small team, and I was writing about 4 of them, plus the main network page. And I actually became very familiar with just front-loading social media content and like writing it all. Like we would write a month's worth of content in one sitting and organizing it, and also just the psychology behind what time you post and the length of your post and how you can write things with a different angle and then how you can automate it. I'll come back maybe and talk about that, but
There'd be a whole
Yeah.
great
yeah, I actually
offload into the public sphere to help all
Yeah.
those areas. Yeah.
I will probably be doing a seminar on this some point in the future. So keep your eyes peeled, everyone.
See Sam in a blazer.
Yeah, that's right. In a blazer, just shaking as I'm reliving the trauma of it being Christmas every day at my job for 6 years.
Oh my goodness.
But in any case, that was they were my only client. I spent 6 years saying no to doing editorial on books, and I did very few markets and events because this job took up my entire life. And I was grateful for it, but it was like working in a toothpaste lid factory. You're writing the same thing over and over again until you walk into your own tomb. And there's nothing wrong with that. It pays the bills. But
Well, there's clearly something wrong for you in that.
yeah,
or you'd
because
still be doing it.
Exactly.
Right.
And it
You
came
could see Willy Wonka's factory, like just outside that.
I know, puffing
toothpaste.
magical hearts
That's right.
in the air, and I was like, "Oh, Willie, why can't I be there,
Right.
writing your social media copy?" But it came to a head last summer when I was writing my new novel, The Door in Lake Malian, which is book 2 in my 5-book series, the Brindlewatch Quintet. It's the sequel to The Stars of Mount Quicks. And I was writing it last summer, and I had this Hallmark job, and I was with my son, and it was just feeling like being crushed. And it was the first time I didn't really enjoy totally writing a book. And because I was so pressed for time and had so many competing obligations, I would be working on the book and I would be second guessing myself every moment, to the point that there exists a second document which houses all of the things I cut, all the things I rewrote from that book, and it is 200,000 words.
What?
It is.
That's a book.
That's like over 800 pages.
So hold on, I'm gonna rather than be like, ooh, you have this extra 200,000 words.
Oh no,
you're
it's
so
a
powerful.
trash. It's a trash file.
This is what I was gonna say. Is, do you think that it was the force of those competing obligations that took away your focus to be able to achieve
Yes.
clarity, and so you were just spinning?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, and a lot of the thing that people don't realize is that a major part of the artistic practice is doing absolutely nothing and having brain cells that are not assigned, and just allowing your mind to work on autopilot by zoning out, by going for a walk.
That's my walk to the studio.
Yeah. By like, not constantly going through every single list of everything you have to do in your personal life, in your professional life, all of your worries, and they're all just kind of in this hurricane in your brain, and it leaves no space for you to just play in your inner world, which is what you need to do in order to write. And I would say that's like 60-70% of the process is actually not writing. It's gathering experience and material in order to convey it.
Let's, since you brought it up, gathering experience and material, Sam has helped myself and Justin in different phases of our creative process assemble graphic novels and books and look at it in a substantive edit. So very briefly, a copy edit is like, hey, did you put your comma in the right place? And a substantive edit is, hey, did you put your plot action in the right place? And so why don't you talk about your experience
with you two?
Well, it doesn't have to be us necessarily.
Here we go.
We already opened with
flame in her eyes.
Yeah, I know. I mean, you can use us as poor examples or like of what not to do examples. But you have a lot of experience doing this, not just with us, but with other people. An idea can lose its shape as it comes out of you, and then you have to kind of put it back together. Justin and I were having a very interesting conversation about how we've been working on our new drafts, and so I'll bring that up again after the fact. But let's just imagine, for the purpose of the dear listener, that they have written a manuscript of some length. Could be 5 pages, could be 250,000 words, but now they're saying to themselves, is it any good? What is the role of substantive editor in helping them figure out the difference between good and favorite?
It's just coming in as an unbiased third person. The editor is there to help you. In my career, and as I've kind of gone up through writing and then to become an editor, I've read a lot of discourse about how, I don't trust editors because they all have an agenda, or their biases are so strong that they're going to water down my intention. And I'm sure that people have had those experiences.
Yeah, I've been there for sure.
Yeah, where you don't agree with an editor. And I mean, that's fine. The editor is a consultant who is external to the work. And unless it's something they're going through your manuscript and it's something that's deeply harmful that could really not benefit you as a writer and not benefit your audience at all, like you're not going to find yourself locking horns that often, because the editor is there to make it the best thing and to see through what is there in front of them. And I've worked with some incredible editors as a writer for many years, and I've worked alongside some in publishing. And an editor comes in with unique insight as well. They've read so many books. They have taken them apart to their base functions. And they're
also just an outside source as well. You've been staring at this manuscript, this story, nonstop for like sometimes years, right? It's hard for you to see it from an outside perspective.
Yeah, and an editor comes in and they're able to use that breadth of experience and that external perspective and say, I'm going to apply that now to your work. And you as the author do have the power at any time to say, I don't agree with anything that you've said, and to just hit reject.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's fine. You can choose to do that, and you have to just kind of maybe accept it might be to your detriment. But again, if you are going to enter into an editor relationship, you do kind of have to, or maybe you're going to learn this through the process, the art of letting go, the art of, saying that, yeah, this doesn't really serve it. And if it's really that important to me, maybe I can use this kernel of an idea somewhere else in some other project. But
that's the key, I think, though, having other projects.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
a
not,
body
yeah.
of work. You have to be thinking
Yeah.
about your output as a body of work.
Yeah, as soon as as you've finished a draft, you are allowed to start thinking about other things. I mean, you can write you can work on simultaneous projects, if that's the way your focus works. But knowing that there is going to be something else later, it won't
You're
make you feel
judging
chained
eyes
to it.
when you said simultaneous process, if that is how your process works. And then she side-eyed me, dear listener.
Yeah,
right?
none of that happened. That was all Gregory's anxieties.
That could be my
I just want you
internal
to know,
doubt and shame.
Yeah, that just manifests every time I'm around. When genuinely, I'm just here to make sure that the book is readable. But yeah, but yeah, I mean, I have also worked with clients, and I'm not going to dox anyone. This was many years ago, where I sent them their edits, and I send them in good faith, and I am just there to like point out consistency things, or this doesn't track, or have you thought of maybe trying it a different way, or maybe cut this whole thing entirely. I'm not sitting there going, let's rip it apart. I hate your work and I hope it burns. Hi, Matt.
Thunder crashes.
Matt, come on in, Matt.
I want to kill everyone. Satan is good. Satan is our pal. Ray, you're chanting.
Dear listener, I can't pass you this. You have to slither over closer to Justin.
Careful of the many incredible pieces of artwork that are laying on the floor here.
He's got
it's
thousands
inventory
of them,
time.
don't worry.
So why don't you introduce who you are, and then we'll tell everyone why that's important.
I'm worried about what reasons you'll find for your part. I'm Matthew Dick, co-founder of Comrade Comics, the Winnipeg comic anthology.
And we were talking a little bit, we hinted at it, but then you appeared like a ghost in the hallway about how you have...
He smirked as he was going to the bathroom, and
you
I was
have-
like, he's gonna look in
gonna
when he comes
poke in.
back.
Then we'll
I
catch
haunt
him.
the 7th floor
To
here.
haunt the
yeah.
7th floor. So, couple of things. Number one, news for you. News for you. Give them the news.
Prairie Comics Festival now has an office on 6.
I love it.
Right.
Yeah.
So one of the things that's great about this building is that it has naturally or unnaturally attracted a lot of people who are interested in the comic space in lots of different capacities. But you also, your day job here is working in film and media and all these other things, and at the same time developing a burgeoning community of comics people who are not supported. So one of the themes, I guess, maybe underlying in this episode is like, when you have opportunities, how dare you not share what you have? Once the largesse comes in, right, you have to try and hold some space for some other people. So talk about Comrade Comics. Here's your pitch
Okay.
moment. You didn't
Wow.
even know you were planning this. You were just
I-
walking by in the hallway.
Do you want me to give the Coles notes while you
I would love
gather
to,
yourself?
yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, Comrade Comics actually started at Prairie Comics Festival, and I had no idea about that until Comrade did like a meet and greet, a seminar for Prairie Comics Festival very recently. I think in our last year's round, September of 2023, which you can actually view that whole talk on our Facebook page,
Amazing.
because it was live streamed, and you can go there and you can see Matt and Ellie talk all about how they started. But you guys just
How can you
put
tell
out
Sam has more media training than us?
you put out a call like just under a theme, and all of these people just kind of came, and you produced these very high quality like floppy anthologies that are like super accessible. And it's just, you started out as a collective and you're still going, and you're on issue 8.
8.
Wow.
Do you prefer floppy or saddle stitch?
I mean, I say saddle stitch, but I don't.
That's right. I don't know. I think.
Sorry. I'm
Yeah.
sorry if floppy sounded low quality for some
Yeah.
reason,
I
or
think of floppy
or
disks
or
when I hear
bougie, but
Yeah. Bougie, yeah. Why don't you say small batch? A small batch.
small
Oh,
batch.
yeah.
Oh,
You know what?
yeah.
That's
It's a
actually,
pilsner of comics.
That's an internal joke that we have, Ellie and I. It's small batch,
Yeah.
locally grown, freshly squeezed comics.
Yeah.
And our
you
table,
slurp them up.
yeah,
It's
our
so good.
our whole table aesthetic now is a lemonade stand. So
That's
we've got
so good.
fake lemons and a nice
Oh,
pink
wow.
plaid.
Like an
tablecloth.
awning.
Yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, the awning will come next.
It's
yeah.
coming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Since you haven't been prepped for your sudden inclusion, we ambushed you basically, and now you're on the show.
Yeah.
Let's take a brief moment to talk about how you can have the Jekyll and Hyde life that you have of, we were talking about earlier, taking the king's shilling and spending it on vagabonds. So why don't you talk about what you do normally and what you're very good at doing, and then what else you've turned that into?
Sure. Well, first, I think listeners will think Matt Dick must be quite the opportunist because he literally just hijacked Sam's interview, and now he's talking about his own project. So.
But I also just said, I got this studio here because there's so many people in comics and art in this building, and then you just walked by.
Yeah, I
so
did.
It was
Yeah,
great.
that's true.
Serendipity.
Yeah, so the Jekyll and Hyde life. So I work at Uphouse as associate creative director, and my background is in agents like advertising and marketing, but also video production. I spent 5 years in video production and animation as a writer and creative director. So just yesterday I was at Studio Lab XR, a virtual studio, and we were filming some commercials there with actors and props and then 3D virtual backgrounds. So we were able to shoot, 7 or 8 locations in one day.
Wow.
And talking to, I was doing interviews with some crew members from their team, Jonathan, and actors and our own people, talking about how we brought this vision to life. And so that was not every day is like that. That was pretty unique and fun. But that's kind of what I'm doing day to day, is working on video projects for our clients and doing sort of commercial work.
You should know that there's a rumor about you here in the halls of this building that while you do this, quote unquote commercial work, that you're the director, that people come in to do their slick corporate video and then they end up crying on camera as a result of your interview prowess. So what's going on? Why are
you so empathetic?
Yeah. What's happening? Right? Is it because they're all so repressed, or because
they just really want someone to talk to, and then you just come along, you just crack them open?
I will say I spent many years riding Winnipeg Transit, and
Oh,
I
yeah.
seem to attract the people who needed to talk to someone.
It's just an energy, I guess.
I guess so, yeah. I've been told I have
And
kind
inside you're
eyes.
like, please stop talking to me.
So
are people on the bus stroking your cheek when they say that? You have kind eyes, Matt.
Well, I used to work at a local video production and animation company called Tripwire Media, and we did a lot of unscripted work or documentary style work, and so right away I had to start doing on-camera interviews, and so some of those interviews would be with clients that are nonprofits who, there's some pretty personal stuff that you're diving into, especially when it comes to, children's health, for instance, and you're speaking with parents. So yeah, having some really serious conversations with folks on camera, you have to be empathetic. You have to really get to know them and form some kind of a bond so that they trust you. And, you've got to be on the same side, have their back, and make them feel comfortable on camera, because it's so strange being in front of a camera. It's, as Werner Herzog said, it's like staring into the eyes of death or something. It's not a fun experience most of the time. So yeah, I did probably hundreds, if not over 1,000 interviews with folks, pre-interviewing, interviewing on camera. So yeah, I made a lot of people cry.
That's good. And how does that now step into the realm of creating anthologies where you're cracking people open on like a random theme like Sub-Zero?
And why comics?
And like
as a medium?
Yeah.
So I'll answer why comics as a medium. As a kid, I was just drawing a lot. I just loved picking up comics on road trips when you have nothing else. You're sharing, a Sony Walkman with 2 other brothers, and you've got nothing else to focus on those long drives from northern Manitoba to southern Manitoba. So I'd pick up comics. I'd pick up, X-Men, and just read them over and over and over again. So I was the kid who was always drawing.
Claremont Byrne or Claremont Silvestri? Which era of X-Men were you?
I remember it being Zero Tolerance run. I'm not sure who was on that one, but
Right.
yeah.
Carry on. Sorry,
So that was just sort of a hobby for me, but I think I'm more of a writer than an artist, and ultimately writing is how I make my living. So comics was one way to kind of marry those 2 interests, which I did at CRECOM when I went through the CRECOM program at Red River College Polytechnic, and majored in advertising. That was my final project. I made a comic, Winterpeg. And that was my introduction to the local comics community, because I was at the very first Prairie Comics Festival, and I remember I had one book, nothing else.
Yep.
And so I was at a bare table with just my books spread out, and I look to my right, and Ellie Schumann is there, who I went to high school with.
Yeah.
So
With
she had a
Punchy?
book. Yeah, with Punchy Comics. So she did the same thing. She was in the graphic design program at Red River.
I bought the T-shirt then.
Yep.
Yeah, I just, you know what? I wore my T-shirt so much it fell apart, and she just gave me a fresh one.
Oh my
That's
God!
so
I
good.
also wore mine until
Yeah.
Ellie, if you're hearing this,
Yeah.
get us
We need
t-shirts.
more T-shirts. So that was a great reunion. And she also had just her one book because she did the exact same thing to design at Red River. And then her final project was a graphic novel, a silent graphic novel called Tierra Negra. Beautiful book. If you can get your hands on a copy, it's incredible. And so, you know, we got to talking and thought it was pretty funny how we had, you know, so little at our table. And so we thought, why not just split the costs of tabling at other shows, and you know, we would just do this together as a fun side project and have that camaraderie.
Yeah.
But we were also introduced to so many other friendly faces and incredible talents who are local to Winnipeg. And, you know, after, I think, when did Prairie Comics Festival start? 2016?
We started in 2016. It was
Right.
the one-day fest at Millennium in that tiny room where everyone was suffocating.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And germs were circulating.
That's
and-
right. Yeah. And we were young then. We didn't know it was
Yeah,
coming.
Oh, the fools! You young fools!
Yeah.
Yeah.
So by 2019, you know, I think a lot of artists are this way, that you've got a lot of ideas that you think could be something, but maybe they're just not quite substantial enough to be their own book, or you just don't feel like you have that opportunity to ever go to print with it. So, you know, it just stays in your head or stays on a few pieces of paper in
Yeah.
your office. So I had a few like that. And there was one that I was really hoping to publish, a Toba, which I was doing as a strip in Uniter for a little bit. But I knew, you know what, I would not have enough time to get it ready for Prairie Comics Festival. So in a selfish move, I talked Ellie into giving her some of her work, and then I would put in some of my work, and then maybe we could rope in another artist to give us some of their work,
Yeah.
and we could combine forces to create a little anthology book, which was an idea that I had probably by 2016, 2017, just by looking around Prairie Comics Festival. I was
Yeah.
like, all these people are just amazing human beings, and then also incredible talents too.
Yeah.
What if we were able to just have one book that showcased several people, and then, you know, a reader would be able to kind of get a smattering of, you know, what's out there in terms of local talent.
Yeah.
And, you know, I always had in mind this could be people who are brand new to comics, people who are very experienced, people who are artists in their own right, who have never made a comic book before. Just kind of have that diversity in there. And then that way people could have the same experience that Ellie and I did, which is, you know, just meeting a group of incredibly supportive, kind, talented individuals who also call Winnipeg home.
Yeah.
So that's where that first book came in, which was very much an experiment. We called it issue 1 just for kicks. And then, you know, we thought if this is going to work, then Prairie Comics Festival is the perfect place to launch it. Yeah. And then sure enough, the response that we got from issue 1 was incredible. I think there was at least a dozen artists who wanted to be part of issue 2. And
Yep.
then once we came back after COVID, we had 17 artists who wanted to be part of issue 3.
Wow.
So we staffed up like the next 3 issues based
Yeah.
off of those artists.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, now you're on issue 8.
Yeah.
And every time you just announce one, it's like already done. You're just like, oh, hey, here's the next issue. Here's some clip. And it's just like, you guys are just really efficient. You've got a really great pipeline. You've got so many great creative people. And it just seems like it could just go on.
Kind of like the way that Justin often says that his career as a graphic designer before comics helped him inform the finishing, the polishing, making it ready for public consumption before you share it with the public. It's almost like you two, with your extensive experience
In
media
other
related,
things, yeah.
means you understand the value of having it finished before you announce that it's coming,
Yeah.
right? And I
Yeah.
think we could all, dear listeners, learn from that. the quick fix of, yes, I'm doing it on social media can, in fact, deflate
Yeah.
the impetus to complete anything.
Yeah.
Whereas finishing it and then announcing it, so much more satisfying.
Yeah.
It is.
And
yeah.
also just saying it's issue 1 as if you did have a plan to do it continuously all along forever. This is just great. That was just the cherry on top.
Yeah.
Are you guys planning to ever do like a long form anthology that's like 100 pages and that's like like perfect bound and yeah?
He's nodding.
He's nodding, but he's like, I don't want
There's
to
a glitter
announce
in his
it.
eye.
It's a beautiful dream.
I think the message to psychos, fanatics, murderers, nutcases all over the world is do not mess with suburbanites because, frankly, we're just not going to take it anymore. You know, we're not going to be content to look after our lawns and wax our cars, paint our houses. We're out to get them, Don. We are out to get them.
The thing that I love most about Comrade is it's an idea that just keeps feeding itself. Because more artists come up to our tables and see it for the first time and they say, how do I get into this?
Yeah.
And it's just been incredible to always have more artists who want to get involved.
Yeah, because
and
I've
we
never
have
seen
space
you
for
do
it.
an open call. I don't think. Maybe I'm just missing it. But
we did do an open call actually 1 or 2 months ago.
Okay.
Just for the pure reason that we want to make sure that we're representing Winnipeg to the best of our ability. So we wanted to specifically reach out to any BIPOC, LGBTQIA2S
yeah.
Groups, anyone with disabilities. We just want to be more representative and have, be able to say, like, this is our first cover artist who's neurodivergent.
Yeah.
Issue 8 is an all-female lineup.
Yeah.
And that happened naturally. We just
Yeah.
found, like, more and more female artists were responding that, yes, I want
That's
to contribute.
amazing. Yeah.
And we were like, okay, let's find one more. And this
Yeah.
is going to be our first all-female issue. So I'm super excited for that. So is Ellie. And it just kind of keeps feeding on itself, but we're also super grassroots and we've got like no money.
Yeah.
And we are always like, it's a volunteer effort, right? Like Ellie and I aren't making any money off of it. It's all just kind of going back into the pot for our
making it,
printing
yeah.
costs. And
And you're not collecting IPs. Nobody is
No.
like giving their
No.
story up. There's none of that usury stuff that can sometimes be found in open calls on the internet for anthology comics.
yeah, exactly. I mean, like,
Read the fine print, dear listener.
we kind of call ourselves like indie publishers, but we're certainly not editors because we're also not going back to artists and saying, like, here's what I would change. It's a platform for them to express themselves, and I think
Yeah.
that level of freedom is also what attracts artists to it too.
Yeah.
We just have kind of a blurb on, we don't publish hateful content, but we also don't censor anything that has merit. So yeah, we try to keep it open. So yeah, just being grassroots and just trying to keep it very accessible for readers and for artists. We want to make sure that our printing costs are low so that artists are able to buy issues just slightly above cost and
Yeah.
sell it themselves. Because, even though we don't have money, we want to give artists the ability to make some money so they can buy as many issues as they want just above printing costs and sell it themselves.
Yeah.
So we have sort of limitations on how long the book can be, what sizing it is. That way we can keep our printing costs down. That said, absolutely, I would love what I've been calling the Comrade Compendium. I would love to make that a reality.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
If only there was a growing comics festival.
that he's already talked about extensively.
If only there was a place like that, the partnership where
Funny.
I'll talk about Prairie Comics Festival all the live long day
All the
and
live long
hype
day.
it up because I love it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just, in my mind, I'm like, this. You already have like a really devoted following who would crowdfund this, like no problem, and then that would just become a pre-order campaign, and then you would have a very clear line for fulfillment, and it's just mostly that production cost, and then if you wanted contributors and they wanted to buy into the print run, and then that there are ways to do it that I'm happy to just
see our Dire Beast episodes for the plan.
Yeah, these guys are doing an anthology. Have you heard about it? Are you involved in it?
I think I
Or
might have
Dire
heard a
Beasts?
little. Oh, maybe not.
No, it's what they're calling a chase anthology. It has very specific parameters, like your max page number is 10. They all have to be on spreads, starting on the left-hand side. It's just black and white. Everyone in the person It has to be the artist and the writer, and it has to feature a monster. And the whole premise behind it is that when you take it to conventions and everyone has it on their table, everyone is chasing to the other person's table to get the signatures from everyone who's contributed to it. And Justin's going to be doing a Kickstarter campaign for it, and everyone is kind of jumping in kind of feet first in the same way that your comrade folks do, where kind of the profit exchange is that, you know, we get to buy into the print run as the contributors, which is going in at cost is much more favorable than a traditional publishing model. And then, you know, you get to keep more of the profits selling it at shows. And it's a project attracted to folks who are already going to shows.
I take it back, dear listener. You can save yourself an hour. Sam just more succinctly described our project in like 2 minutes than we did in 2 hours.
You should just go back to the podcast, because I'm sure they go into the reason why, and you know, the interesting side, and like Justin has this idea of doing like Justin's going to draw everyone's monsters at the end, right? Exactly. Yeah.
We might going to make Zach do it. Zach Schuster.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Oh, Zach Schuster. Okay, perfect.
ZachSchuster.com.
Yeah, just do a bestiary. And it's just like a great collective project that makes sense in the same manner that Comrade does. So I'm pretty excited. I'm going to be in it, which is like kind of wild for me.
So it just suddenly occurred to me that we should address the elephant in the room. Is print dead? Why are we doing this?
Oh,
are we
God.
crazy?
What? Is that where the...
What's happening?
No, we're not. It's not dead. It's just has to be differently financed.
That's right. Right. And I think that there's this overarching narrative and I get this from my agent and I get this from other people who are in the big publishing spheres. It's like Armageddon right now because they can't make their outdated post-World War II model work anymore. Mm-hmm. And they think it's all over and it's all ending. But really what's happening is people are buying what they want instead of what they're told to buy. Yeah. And so if you're interested in stuff like Comrade, you don't wait for it to show up at the bookstore. You show up wherever it is and you get it.
Yeah, and you get it. Or you make it.
Yeah. Or you make it.
Yeah.
Or you make it.
And you, like we were talking about at the beginning of this, you do it within the confines that you have. Even if the money has been cut, you're like, well, I'm going to do it harder now.
Yeah.
And I'm going to stop at nothing until it's made. Within reason, you know, don't bankrupt yourself, dear listener. But it's kind of funny. It sounds like collectivism, but without...
Well, your thing is called Comrade.
Yeah. Is
right.
Comrade with an E.
That's where I'll stop you, Sam.
Wow.
It's Comrade without
the E.
I know, it's comics.
Yeah, but no, we're commies. I'm radical left.
Yeah, radical left. Yeah. Sorry. This is where socialists come to make comics.
This is the witty banter you came for.
Listen,
listeners.
we are going to make collectivism work this time, that we're going to do it with books.
I will say this, that more than once after Automatic Age came out, I was accused of, in public and online, of my communist agenda underlying the tones in Automatic Age. I don't think I identify myself as a communist, but I do think it's important for the people who create their labor to own their labor, and then that you don't... Extractionists' points of view don't help everyone. They only help the people who have put that extraction in place. So if you control your print run, if you control your means of production, then you can have a living wage. What a wild idea.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think what I'm proud of every issue that we've released, but I'm also especially proud of our model because I can't imagine going about it any other way than how we've done it since the beginning, of just empowering artists to do the kind of work that they want to do and then giving them the opportunity to make money from it. I wouldn't do it any other way.
Neither would we. Thanks for letting us ambush you.
Thank you. Off to the next client meeting.
That's great. Where are we at for time, Dan? And then I'll figure out how we're going to wrap things up. Oh, okay, that's so perfect. You could not... Hey, Matthew. He's gone. Oh, yeah. You could not have more succinctly summed up what we had been talking about being important for people to do. Then you came in and laid out what you were doing, which was like a checkbox of all the...
It seems like you were a plant.
It does seem like a plant.
Production
you will not
value.
believe that was accidental. You were a good interview.
You were perfect.
Yeah, thanks. Cheers.
You guys didn't make him cry, though, so not as good as he
Maybe
is.
he's going to leave
We're
and
not
cry.
as good as him, yeah. Maybe
Okay.
he'll leave crying.
You know?
Yeah. Okay, dear listener, here's the thing that I am thinking right now about this whole experience. Sam has showed up, jingling her keys. Matthew's walked by, got sucked in. What people want to be doing is expressing themselves, and I'm not necessarily interested in getting it right every time. It's not about the perfect, polished, my idea is fit for everyone. Our ideas aren't fit for everyone. That's just not how it works. We have different ideas, different points of view. So if the thing holding you back, dear listener, is that you feel like you don't have a community, I promise you, if you start and you start sharing that work with people, you'll find your community, or the community will find you.
They'll just walk by.
They'll just walk by. If you are afraid, if it's any good, there are services that are very affordable that you can do to look at your substantive edit. And I'm talking about a couple $100. You can have someone go through your thing. You can save up your coffee money for a little while and then submit your story to a person who professionally does this, and they'll give you notes. And you don't have to listen, believe, or take those notes. But I promise you, the process of allowing your work to be interviewed, if you will, by someone who has done this a lot with other work will be so instructive to you on how to streamline your own creative process. It's so valuable. Recently, I got a script package for a television show that I'm working on, and the best, most instructive piece, there was tons of documents. I've got like 80 pages of stuff to go through that talks about it, but the best one is a single page that showed typical edits on a first draft, and it showed all the track changes on a first draft, and it was terrifying, just terrifying. Like, oh my God, they're just going to rip this apart every time I hand in. They're going to rip it apart. And the accompanying document with it said, the fact that we can do this with your first draft is because you are a professional. Please recognize that professionals can handle this level of scrutiny, right? And that is why you are a professional.
Yeah.
Right? So that does not mean you have to be a professional creative person. You can be a writer who aspires to professional levels of critique. You can be a poet who aspires to public performance. You can take all the ways in which we publicly express off of your responsibility list right now, and just worry about what it is you're going to make for you. Just be your own first person. The one thing I wish we had called Matthew on was, he was like, oh, I see myself as a writer, but not really as an illustrator. I want to shake him. He is such a good illustrator.
He is actually, and that's kind of funny because he is in all of these different worlds, and I was first introduced to his work, his art, so when he started doing Comrade, I thought it was all him.
I thought it was going to be a vehicle for more of his work, and then instead it was an umbrella to help others. Yeah,
for the community, and so he just does it all. He's just a Vitruvian man of art and comics, and we're just lucky that he is down the hall, and that this community, has folks like him that are willing to invest. Like, it takes so much time and mental space to be an anthologist, because you are stepping aside as a creative person. You're putting into it some of your creative aspects in the curation process, but you are just there to facilitate others getting their work out there, and that just being able to do that is just such a pivot. And take that time to do it, and we're really lucky that we have that in our community. So after this episode, dear listener, if you are from Winnipeg or Manitoba, do not let anyone tell you that this community is not vibrant and isn't flourishing, and we don't have an art community, because we do, and it's out there, and you maybe have to work a little harder to get through the chaff of what's being thrown at you or what you're told that Winnipeg is all about, but there are so many great folks here who are just trying to help other folks in their artistic practice. And in fact, I'll close off that comment by saying when we were in Calgary Expo recently, a number of people, Calgarians and fans, they would just come to the table and they would ask me where I'm from, and I'd say Winnipeg. And the most unexpected reaction, which was, oh man, Winnipeg has such an amazing art community, and I wish we had that here. And I was just like, oh, wow, all right.
Well, they were in Calgary looking everywhere.
Yeah.
That's why.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. And there are genuinely places that, you know, aren't investing on a civic level, and it is kind of up to us to just keep it up.
If you are in Alberta, Panel 1 is the Prairie Comics Festival
It just
equivalent
happened, yeah.
organization, but
Yeah.
Grassroots, creativity for its own sake,
Monthly
community.
events,
Yeah.
they do a drink and draw, monthly like gathering, which I really hope that we'll be able to do soon, similar. And they do seminars and workshops, and everything's free, and their main festival happens in June, and it's a one-day event, and it's just wonderful out there.
If you're looking for a cheat code, if I only knew the right person, if I only had a way in, then it would all work out for me, just throw that away. That's not true. That doesn't work. Your work will speak for you, and it'll either speak to others or it won't, and it's not always up to you. But the fact that you made it will speak to you and speak to your ability to make more work forever.
Yeah.
So, Sam,
Gregory.
we're going to...
Justin.
We're going to burst in on you a couple of times, I'm sure, while you are downstairs in the new Prairie Comics Festival office. But this has been Super Pulp Science. I'm Gregory Kmichuk, encouraging you to join the fight and make comics.